Good morning. Happy New Year. So this is the Kajabi communities. So when you set up communities, you have to do, it's a two-step thing. So you have to set up your community area, and you only get one community per site. So your community is basically just like on or off. And then once you have it set up, that's kind of the basicness. Then you have to add in what's called access groups. And the access groups are your actual community product. So you set your community up and just basically say, yes, we have a community. And the name for the community is for all of the access groups. So it needs to be something a little bit generic, because say, for example, like we have Unicorn Heroes, and I also have my BU coaching program and this random testing, but there's other things that we might want to set a community up temporarily. Like if I've got the 30 days to 1K coming up at the end of January, and that's a 30-day challenge. That's not something I'll have a community for all the time, but we'll have a community during that 30-day period. So if I set it to 30 days to 1K, that wouldn't make sense to anyone who is in Unicorn Heroes. So this bit has got to be something sufficiently generic to cover all of your different courses and programs. That's for the community in general. Then within the community, you've got these access groups. So I have two access groups set up. It was a little bit confusing because there's circles and then these are access groups, and it was like, what is what? So this is the Unicorn Heroes access group, and this, which is a product, and it uses up one of my products and my limit. And this is my testing community, which is also a product. So this one doesn't have anyone in yet, because that was just, I set it up when I was playing around. This one is the one where I've been adding anyone who wants to come in and try and help me break it. So within your community, like your access group for each different product, you can then add two different styles of what's called a circle. So we can go in and add a circle, and this will just set one up here, call it testing circle, and then you can give it a description. Blah. Testing. And then you choose which access group it belongs to. So this is like which product, and the ownership and the access to the community is set by this access group in the product. So if you had a course, for example, or if you have a membership, then you add in that to your offer, which is what gives people access to it. So if you had a membership offer, then you add a product, which is the one that you set up. And just something to bear in mind as well that I have discovered on a tangent. If you have a product called, say, Unicorn Heroes, and you add a community and you call it Unicorn Heroes, you're then going to have two products called Unicorn Heroes, and you're not going to know which one is which. And I found the same thing with podcasts. So for podcasts, add the word podcast or audio or something. And for community, I've added the word community. Otherwise, when you're trying to add it to your product, you're like, oh, which one is which? I don't know. So just a little something that I found out. So we're going to add this into the testing. Then we've got four options. I'll do this one first. So the feed style chat is your posts like you would have on a Facebook group, where someone creates a post and then people comment underneath it. The chat is literally chit chat, like a Slack or something, where it just goes down. So I think it's probably not a bad idea to have both, but I wouldn't have lots of probably chat. I would potentially have these feed circles as a theme around a particular topic, and then the chat, you could have like maybe one like just chit chat where people catch up. I'm in a community where the community is on Circle, and then they have their chat in another app, and the chat on the app is just like the kind of fun banter, whereas the actual posts that are in the group are easier to search and find, and it's sort of, stuff doesn't get lost as easily. So that's sort of something to think about. I'll show, there's examples of both in here. The other thing that you might want to do is you might want to create a chat community just for a specific thing. So when I was setting up the meetups, you could do a chat circle for a particular event. So if you're having a webinar, or if you're having a training, or like I might do one when I set up the Q&A, for the Q&A calls specifically, so that then people can chat about that meeting or that event within that, and then you can just delete it when it's finished. And then this is where I screwed up. if you make it public, if you make it private, that's basically where you could have a little special community that you just wanted to invite a couple of people to. I'm not sure how helpful that would be. But when you do it private, you have to give them a manual invite, which is what I discovered. Whereas if you do it public, I thought see how it says anyone in my community can join the circle. I thought that meant community wide, but it actually means access group. So it means anyone in this access group, because you've set it to the access group, is automatically going to be added. So I would recommend doing public. I did test it yesterday. If you then, someone else joins that offer, they'll instantly get access. Whereas if you have it private, you have to one by one choose and invite and add people in. So that might be more helpful if you've just got, I don't know, like say there's a situation where you just have people opt in for something, maybe, I don't know, or you might just want to have a small little group where it's like an accountability group for this week, and you're like, hey, put your hand up, and then you manually add people in, something along that situation. But yeah, the public will be anyone who owns, who has this access group can then access it. Okay, however, I did discover though, when I changed it, I still had to manually add everyone who was already in there. So set it up as public to start with, I think, but it did automatically add anyone else who came in after that point. So that will set us up a feed style. So this is going to bring up a feed. So we've got one that I set up yesterday. So you can go through when you get in there and play around and go through. So you can choose your, popularity. Oh, I'm so popular. It's all from me. So you can then go and anyone can create posts and anyone can comment. And then they kind of are a little bit threaded. I would like it better. This is just probably because I've been in a lot of circle communities. If you could put a title on the post, because it's just a lot of text. And when people are scrolling down, it's just big kind of chunks of text. It's hard to sort of see specifically what each post is about. So just something I would suggest if you are in a community or for your own members is maybe just, that first line, just put something like, I don't think we can bold stuff. Can we bold? No. So I'd just maybe make the first line just to make it easier to see for people to see. Because I mean, I was just doing random posts, but you can see I've already sort of put a few in here, and it's just, there's a lot. And, it's kind of tricky to see what's what. So that's in the feed style. That's what that looks like. Anyone can go and create a post, and people can comment on them. They can say they're inspired, which, that's okay. I don't know if I love that, but there's no way to change it. That's the options. You can add pictures. I was a little bit sad to discover that there's no like Giphy integration. So if you want to add a GIF, you actually have to go to Giphy and then download it onto your computer and then upload it as a file rather than just picking a GIF. But there is emojis, and I love emojis. So this is the chit chat style of circle. So as you can see, it's just, chatty. One of the helpful things with chit chat though is you can tag everyone like you can in a Facebook group. So everyone will then get a notification. So I do like that. The meetups are a little bit, easy to overlook. This one came up with a big button, but I'm not sure if that's because that was at the time, and I set this one when I was playing around then. So it'll be interesting to see what comes up with the one that's on today. And you can choose for your meetup, which I'll show you in a sec, which circle it's associated with. So that's where you might want to have a specific circle just for your calls or something, so they all go in there, so all the chat related to the call, and it won't get lost in like a big overall feed. And then on here you can do polls. I like polls. Polls are really cool, and they're really easy to set up. So that's a nice thing. You can't do that in the feed style, only in the chat. And then you can reply to posts and you can heart them. So let me heart my own post. So say on here you can just click next to it. See, Vesica, I'll add you into the group. So you can reply, you can copy the link. So if you do something in the feed or this that you want to bring to people's attention, you can go and copy a link to that. Like if you had a poll, can you do a poll? Oh, you can't do it on a poll. I was going to say that'd be pretty cool if you can. Oh, yes, you can. Can you? I don't know. See, these are the things I'm discovering. I'm not sure how to do that. I'll see if you can. Maybe you'd have to do a message and then do the one after it and copy the link, and then you can get a link. Oh, is that to that post though? No, it's share with, I don't know. How about I try that out and we can see what it looks like. See, these are the kind of things that I want to, as you're going through it, you can kind of get an idea. So that's basically the two different types of circles. You'll see my comments to myself as I was going through. I changed this image and then all of these were the same. And I was like, oh, that sucks that we can't have different images. And then I realized you can, I just haven't set them up. So in each circle, when you go into the settings of that, you can, no, where is it? Oh, okay, we have to do that in settings. So you can go into so there's the community settings and then there's my account settings. So I'll show you the community settings. So we can go into circles and then you can edit things in here. So we can go and edit the name, we can edit the image, the description, which access group, and that public and private option. So you can change the access groups, which I think is really helpful, especially if you wanted to do a free community. And, the situation I think that would be really helpful for is if you are doing, say, a free challenge, but you only want the content to be available for the week of the free challenge, but then anyone inside your membership gets access to that forever. That's a really easy, you can just flick the access group over. So they'll be able to then access everything, but anyone who's just in your free community and under the free access group area, it'll be gone for them. So, that's nice. That's a really clean kind of way. If you did something like that, where you've got this free content that has a limited time. But since we're in here, let's have a look at what's in here. So it's a little bit limited, I've got to say. So we've got our stats, which are kind of helpful. That's just this, how many challenge submissions, which I'm not quite sure why that's 7, because I'm the only one who's submitted to 2 challenges. So I'm not sure what that is. This is, unless that's the number of challenges that I've set up rather than the number of people that have actually submitted a challenge, which would be a bit more helpful on the info. Messages sent, this is every chat and post message. This is how many members and how many meetups are set up. So they're kind of nice, but I'm not really sure that's incredibly helpful. The details, this is what I found was a little bit funny, and I hope Kajabi does fix that up, but I imagine it's because they're still getting that integration between the two things. Your community details in here and your cover photo, you can't change anything in here. You have to actually change it in the settings inside Kajabi in the product itself, like you do with a course or a membership. You can't actually go and update that. So you're like, why won't you let me? You have to go and do it in Kajabi, not in this Vibely community area. You can add social links. You can't choose what order they're in, but you can add them. I haven't checked. I ticked that. Oh, I didn't say. Auto share new YouTube videos as challenges. I'm like, hey, I don't know what that's going to look like, but let's play around, which is the whole point of this community. And there's no save. There's no save. So I kept going, did it work? I don't know. Did it work? And then your social links, you've got a few different options. Personal is just like any link. So if you want to link to anything else, and those actually show up just underneath here. So that's where those icons show up. So you can add links. They're pretty small though, so it's very easy to overlook them. Okay, so that is the details. And then the community guidelines. This is something where you can add a number of guidelines, or you can just say, hey, here's our community guidelines. This will go out as an email to everyone when it goes out, and it also comes up when someone first joins that they have to accept it when they come into your community. So when you go in there, you might see this come up. Obviously, I was just playing because I was like, what happens here? So I haven't sort of seen whether, I think it's just one, there's not like an option. So this is where it would be like the equivalent when you're joining a Facebook group and you have those rules. But there isn't any sort of example copy. So I might just sort of make up some options, and you feel free to borrow that or use it or whatever you want when you're welcome to. And yeah, there's just one. And then under this advanced area, so like one of the communities I was in, they're called like the sweet potatoes or something. So they called all their members like potatoes instead of member. So that's where if you do have like a, something cooler, I haven't thought of anything cooler because, I'm like, I don't call people unicorns. Like, maybe I'm just not clever enough, but that's where if you wanted to call, like, you know, I might change myself to the big boss, for example. So that's where you can change that. So our challenges, this is one thing that I think is cool, but I really hope we'll get a little bit more love, essentially. But also, I want to play around with this more and really try and find the ways that we can utilize this the best, because I do think the challenge is really cool. I was hoping that it would be like they join a challenge and then they'd get some reminders or something to come back. So please do join these challenges, not to do them, just put random stuff in it, just to see what it's like from your perspective. So you might, you know, together we can kind of come up with ideas of how to set these up in a more helpful way. So you've got a choice of a challenge that is a one-time challenge or a recurring challenge. I was hoping to set up my Make More Offers recurring challenge as every week for 52 weeks for the year, but there's a maximum of 12. So I was like, oh, damn. Anyway, so, you know, that's probably not the worst, but I was like, wow, bummer. But yeah, so you've got this recurring challenge or you've got a one-time challenge. And then also we have options of a series, which is like I've done here. But the downside of the series is that the series is essentially just a group of single challenges. It's not a literal series, which is what I was hoping it would be. But that's where I've set this up, and they've got start and end dates. So this is like a 5-day thing. So each one goes for 1 day. So I'll be interested to see how that goes, whether if you join it, because I did notice in another community that had like a YouTubers community that had like 5,000 people join, but only like 800 made it to the 5th day because there was massive drop off, which is normal for a challenge, but it might be that you've got to be a little bit more active with your emails to be getting people back into the challenge, which I do recommend anyway. You know, when you're doing a challenge, it's really important to keep the engagement high, but I don't think this is going to do it on its own. I think you'll still need to be saying, hey, come to the challenge, and sending links out and stuff. So, and there is options where you could create one and then duplicate it. Download challenge entries. I did not discover that yesterday. So what does that do? Okay, so we can download. So that may be in Excel or something. So in our actual challenges, when we come in here, this is that one that I've set up. So this one was yesterday. So I don't know, because if I set it up yesterday, if you guys will still be able to do it, but, you know, jump in and see. And then it's got this schedule that goes out over the days, but we can't do any of these ones yet, but we can see they're coming up. So, you know, that might be helpful if you did want to do like a 3-day or 5-day challenge. But when you go into the challenge, this part will show up and you can choose a prize, and you can, this stuff is set under the settings. And you can choose an image. So I've just gone through there, and then this is the entry that I actually put in, which that's why I think it's really good for you to do the entry, so you can kind of get a sense of what it's like for the people who are going to be joining it. And then, yeah, I'm going to have to check. I'm going to check these links to see whether it's going directly to that, or it's just saying, hey, join the community. And then people have sort of got to find their own way. I do believe when you do a new challenge, it will send out an email and say, hey, there's a new challenge. So that'll be a case of figuring out whether the system's going to do it or whether you need to do it through your email marketing. But yeah, go and play around with those. And then, yeah, if you've got your own, you know, one, or if there's something that you want me to do and you want to be like, hey, what does that look like? Let's, you know, get them in there and have a play around. So meetups are these. So I've set up a few different ones. This is the one that we're going to do in a little minute after this call. And then these ones I've just set out. I do really like that they are recurring because Gina loves every week having to set up her like recurring meeting reminders. However, one of the things that we do every week when we set up those recurring meetings is we link back to last week's meeting and do a little summary and then add something cool. So if you do that, you're going to miss that. But if you just don't have the capacity, like if I didn't have Gina doing that, I would just be like recurring thing, because I don't, you know, I just wouldn't have this time to be able to send that out. So it depends on your business structure, whether, you know, having that extra thing, and you might just be like, it does it automatically. That is exactly what I need. And the thing is, though, is I'm not sure if someone has to register for each individual event. Like if it's automatic, if it just resets it and then they've still got to RSVP each time, or they can press RSVP and it will RSVP them to every event for the year, and then it will automatically set up reminders. So that's the stuff I want to play around with a bit. So if anyone is able to RSVP to stuff, then you can see what the reminders are going to be like, and you can help me figure out, how that's going to go. So so this one, the location is the live room, and then this one is done on Zoom. So I've just got a few. So go in and see what it looks like from your end. The circles we've already had a bit of a talk about. We can do different things. I'm not sure what importing does. I haven't played with that. And the new circle is, you can do it from here, or you can do it from within the community where you just press plus. I also haven't tried the app, but apparently you can do the new circles from within the app as well. Announcements are kind of similar to how the announcements in Kajabi products currently work. And they do go out as an email, which is kind of nice to know, and you can pin them. But where they show up is in this area here. So I did this one as an announcement for the whole community. I didn't make it just for the group, but you can do the announcements just for the access groups, and they will show up in your emails. Where is it gone? Come on. Okay, so this is the announcement that I did. So it's going to come up, it comes from my name, but it still says Aloha at Vibely. So that I was like, please change that. But, they must be doing it because last week I did one and it came from Vibely. So, I suspect these things are going to change. And also is Kajabi Blue. Everything is Kajabi. There is absolutely no way that I have found to be able to customize how this shows up. This is all coming. All of this is very Kajabi oriented. It's not individualized, like, when you send a marketing email, it's coming from you with your address. This is coming from Kajabi. This help center is Kajabi, supports Kajabi privacy policy. It's Kajabi. It's not like individualized to be my help center. So again, those are things where, I suspect it will change. And because it's new, I really hope it does. And also I'd really like to be able to, put my own font and maybe my own logo and things like that. So that's why pay attention to how these come out so you can kind of get an idea, but there isn't any way. So that was one of the announcements. So I added an image, and the image that you can put a GIF in there. So that was cool, but I had to download it from my own computer, and you will see some of it. So this, cut that off, and then I can go and view the announcement, which will, see, it didn't even work. I don't know what's going on there, but that's where this is showing up. So I can come in here and see the announcement. Oh, this is a different one. So I'd be like, show me later. And I'm assuming if I come in and say, okay, don't show again, it's gone. And then that's gone from here. But I also did have some that I set out that were, so see these ones, I've actually made it just for the specific circles, whereas this one was one for the whole site, like the whole community area. So, and then this custom page, this is something I would love feedback on, because when I first added, like, it makes sense that if you're going to add a custom page, that it would link through to your course, especially if your community is part of your course. However, when I first did this and I had this page in here, this is our library page, two issues. One is that it was coming up with a login screen because it was basically taking you to that URL. But if you've already logged in because you've gone through, it was a bit clunky. And then second, I can see every single product in my whole library, but I don't know if it's going to link back to your login. So if you guys could have a look at that and see, like, are you seeing literally your library and the products you own, or are you going, oh, look, I can see every single one of Sue's 100 products in here? Because, like, that's obviously not ideal. But the other option is, like, I'm sending this to the library because it's that same thing. I was like, oh, I'll send it through to the Unicorn Heroes product page, but you've only got this one, and you can only have one custom page, and it's for the community as a whole, not done by circle. So that's where I was like, oh, that's a bit of a bummer, because that's why I did the library page rather than the product. If you only have one product associated with your community, if this is a community for a membership and that's kind of what you're doing, then absolutely it would make more sense for this URL link to be the link through to like the home area of your product. So, but because this is going to cover multiple things, that's why I've chosen library. But I would love to know, does this show up for you as the library, or does it show a login page, which is a bit icky? If it showed a login page, I'd probably rather send it to a landing page that I make that's like, hey, you know, this is how to access your products, and it links them through. That looks a bit nicer rather than just that login page. But these are the things we can discover. If you want to, if you make it the primary page, what will change is when the community area opens up, it's going to open up to that page as opposed to opening up to the home page, which has challenges. Oh, that's my event. So yeah, so that's, I personally don't want to have it opening to the library because I think that could be a little bit confusing. If I had it as a landing page that made sense as like a home page for community as a whole, then that might be a really cool, you know, thing to do. So that's something else I'll play around with. But for now, I've just let it be that the custom page isn't the primary page, which will default it to the custom page being home. Now, one thing that I really miss and I really, really wish was in here is the home area. There's no feed for everything. So I would have loved for the home to have challenges and then like latest feed, and it brings all of the latest things from all of these different circles into one feed. But it doesn't. You have to go into each circle and into each thing which you have, you know, set how you want to then catch up. So I would recommend not doing a stack, because, you know, I've been in circle communities and I had Heartbeat set up where we had different like areas for different things. But when you do that, because there's no overall, I'm just not sure how effective that's going to be in terms of architecture, because people have got to click into every single one of these to catch up on what's going on. It can be nice potentially if you have a really, really big community, because, you know, when you're in a massive community with thousands of people, a feed is almost next to useless because you can't keep up with it. So in that situation, maybe having those specifics so people can just go into the ones they like rather than seeing everything. But I wish there was the option. So, so at the moment, home just has challenges. So if you don't have any challenges, it's going to be really bare. So even if you have a challenge, and it's just like, welcome yourself to the community. Like, so even just doing something in there, I think would be a really good plan. Leaderboard. Oh, look, Kate is the leader. There you go. So you get points for liking posts and doing other things. And this, again, I don't know where the email for this is, but this will automatically go out to your community as a summary once a week, and it will pick the people who've done things. So there is the element of gamification, but it's very limited, which I'll show you if we go into the profile. Where is it? Yesterday I went in here and it was in here. There must be somewhere. There's got to be somewhere. Is it in here? Nope. Okay. I saw somewhere when I went in. Maybe it was in the chat. Oh, hang on. Maybe it's the public kind of. Ah, I saw this thing where it had all the little icons. So I have to figure out where that is. But you can't change what they're called. It was like, I'm a interested person. I'm a this person, like whatever those things were that it's giving you points for. That's set. There's no ability to change it. And speaking about set, everything is Kajabi blue and this light blue. There is no ability to set a primary color. This is the only image you can change, and these little circle images, and you can choose images for your meetings, and you can add images to posts and images to challenges, but there's no way to change like these color setups. That's it. So that I really hope will change, because there's a lot of people who like to brand their areas and make it in alignment with them, not, you know, in alignment with Kajabi's colors. There's also no like footer area, like there is in a product. Yeah, you do get notifications which will tell you, you know, what is coming up and if there is reactions. One thing I did notice, I did something in the actual Kajabi challenge community, and I clicked on my notifications to be where someone had replied, and it just kind of popped me into the thing in general, not straight to the message. So that might have been an random thing, but this one has taken me to it. So so that's helpful. With the profile, what I was saying about the profile, which is why go and play around with your own profiles, this interest thing here. So see how it says, I am from. If you come into your profile, it'll ask you for interest. So I started filling in all of these. And then I was like, oh, I don't want it. Like I was like, I am from. And so I started at the top and worked my way down. I had so much trouble yesterday trying to get this to save. It was literally driving me crazy. I've even written it in there because I was like, going, it's so crazy. But there isn't anywhere to add a bio. And I am just going to see if it changes now. When someone goes into your, like if someone clicks on you in this here, in here. So see how it's going to go. That thing where I changed the language didn't even show up. But there was another part where I was in yesterday where it didn't say interests and it didn't say I am from. It just said Sue, and it just pulled this first line. And I was like, that's totally irrelevant and random. Like why is it pulling that? And it wasn't like it sort of put any information. I mean, it does have some stuff here. It does have social links, so that's nice that you can add individual social links if you want people to be able to connect. But this little bit was a bit strange. And then it does show what challenges I've done, and it shows what meetups I have said that I'm going to, and circles that I'm in. I'm not sure why this Maya is my daughter who does this much work in Kajabi sometimes, and she's an admin user, and she's automatically been added as a moderator. So if you've got users on your account that maybe you've got a VA to do something like 6 months ago, they may show up as a moderator. So just something to bear in mind. I gotta find out where that was because it was really annoying when it came. Maybe it was under the challenges. Oh, hang on, it might have been under meetups. It was under meetups. So as the host for the meetup, I think maybe it's stressing because I said I would do a live room 7 minutes ago. I'm going to change the time of that so I can do it. Come on. Ready. Okay, so see how I'm the meetup host? It's pulled here from that interest, from the where I'm from, and put that. And that's why I was like, that's not my bio. I'm like, why are you making that the bio? So, so as the person who is the modern, of the community, I would just suggest just fill in that interest field, maybe with something sufficiently vague. Yeah. Okay. So any questions? I've talked a lot. But yeah.
So to clarify, a circle, if you create a circle, it uses a product.
No, if you create an access group, it uses a product, and you can have as many circles as you like under that access group.
So your access group is the Unicorn Advisory, that's the big umbrella.
No, that's my community is the umbrella. My access group is Unicorn Heroes Community and Testing Community. So that would be like my product based. So those are my access groups. And then under that access group, I have different circles.
Okay, so have you used 2 products there? Unicorn Heroes
2 products.
And okay.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to have a free one as well, that would use another product.
Right. Okay.
And then you would do the free one. You could have it so that someone filled out a form, and the action on the form was when form is submitted, then grant access to an offer, and you could have a free offer set up for free community, which would then put them into that free community.
So this could be used now as a lead magnet.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you could use it as you use like a free Facebook group.
Okay.
With the ability that instead of free Facebook group, people will get emails. Like anytime you send an announcement, that's going to email everyone in that group.
Okay. All right.
So feel free to go in and RSVP to things, test things, go in and make comments, reply, like go into your own profile, play around with it, like anything that you want in here. This is never going to go beyond our little group here. And once we've finished testing it, I might just keep it open in case we ever want it. If there's new features, we can be like, oh, what does it look like in a nice, safe place? But yeah, this is literally just for do all the things, you'd be like, if I'm wondering what this would do, this is where you do it. Don't test in your own community. Test here. There you are. I haven't done the invites yet. I've got to go and do that. I've got to grant you access to it. So once you do that, so hopefully you should get that after this call.
Okay, that might help solve my problem, because those I got the emails, but I got that error message when I went to respond. You know, the one that you pulled up just earlier, so it just comes up. So when I clicked on that, so that was point number one. Point number two, it may not be the right time, but with the Unicorn Advisory Group, with my login, I can't seem to get back into my normal group, like this community, and I'm just wondering if there's a log out button. I might have logged in with the wrong email, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So you can come up to your profile if you're in this area and click log out. So I know when I very first came in here, I had to do some extra thing the first time I used it, but then once I did it that first time, and I'm not sure if that's because of that Vibely Kajabi like cross thing.
Yeah, so I can't even get to there because I can't get into the actual Unicorn Advisory Community even.
Can you get
homepage? Yeah. Like where it
so
says
you need to log into your library. So you need to log into the unicornadvisory.com/login. And then it should show up in your library, because I checked that before.
Yeah, that's a bit that I'm struggling with. I think maybe I might have to clear my Unicorn Advisory.
So if you go to the unicornadvisory.com/login and then actually go and log in, then you should see it as a product in your library. It might not have an image because I don't think I assigned an image to it, or it might have like that ugly image.
And that's where I'm wondering if I've logged in with the wrong thing.
Bye, Larissa.
So if I go log in here, hopefully it'll let me do it again.
Yeah, I'll check your email.
I can show you, well, I can even share my screen quickly now. I can't log out to log back in to the main. So I've got nothing in my library. I've got my programs is.
Then you might have done a different address. So you might need to change the email. So look at the email address that you got the notification. Unless I sent you, do you know what? Maybe I set you up on the wrong one. Well, we'll chat afterwards. I'll send you an email to which one I've given you access, so you know which email, because I think you have 2 accounts.
Possibly, and more to the point, like how do I, because that's helpful for me to know for my kids as well, how do I log out to log back in again?
There isn't a way to, okay. Okay. So yes, share your screen. This is what we we're talking about before with that user menu.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
There should be a little picture up the top. Here's me saying, make sure you've got your user menu. That's why it might be good to have it in the website area. So
I don't think I can share it at the moment.
Because I'm still sharing him. And hello, Scott. You have to look back. I've just been going through community stuff, so you have to watch the replay.
So
okay. So if you click on okay, so go into my programs. This is where I was saying add a user menu, and I took it off, and this is telling me why I should not have taken it off. So if you go into view, normally you should have the little, so go into this one. I think it is that you've got 2 email addresses, and so see up the top that little person, click in there and go log out.
Awesome.
So if I had that user menu on the website, you've just shown me why I should never have taken it off, and
that's good for me to know too.
And so then this is where you would then
do the proper login. Okay, cool.
And then hopefully you should be able to get into community, and that would be why you were probably getting an error message on that thing. Cool. And same with me, I think, because it might have been that it came through because I've got like 4 different emails. It may have been I clicked on the link that was attached to a different email, because I've got like hello and then Sue and then a different personal Sue, because I just added them all.
So you're saying put that login then on your main front page?
Yeah, I have it on the menu so that people, if they come and they forget that how to get to login, because that's the most common email, customer service email we get is, how do I log into my product? So we put the login as a button in the menu so that anyone can go to the homepage anytime and log into their courses.
So they can't log out is the issue.
Because I didn't have the user menu with the person in my website area, because I took it out because I thought it was ugly. But now I've realized
why we need it there.
Yeah, because if someone has 2 accounts and they've got a free, so they need to know to go inside their product to be able to log out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.